much dry material, so I just let them know at the end how to contact me. How many PowerPoint presentations have you seen, or maybe you've done yourself? How many people use PowerPoint? Okay. We need to talk about that for just in a minute. But a lot of people think, oh, if it's dry material, I have to be dry. But the drier your material, the more engaging you have to be to keep them alert. And how many times have you seen a PowerPoint presentation, or how many of you who raised your hands, the last slide is your contact information? Raise your hand if that is your last slide. Okay. I see it all the time. I have clients come to me all the time with their PowerPoint slides, and last one. That's what you're sending your audience away with. What do you want your audience to remember most? Send them away in action mode. Sum up what you've just told them. Highlight the key things that they need to remember, the benefits to them if they're from this presentation you have given them. For example, an ending for me, if I was given a program on presentation skills, which I am, but if it was, my ending might be something like, use these steps I've shared with you today and go out and become super successful. That's all I have to say. I could close with a story to hone in the whole message.
I work at UMass Med School, and I do project management work, so a lot of our presentations are team-related, project-related stuff. So generally, we try to always end with, what are our next steps and who's going to do them? And, you know, what's the follow-through on that? So we're not really in occasionally you're in a sales thing, not really sales like other people are out trying to sell themselves, but, you know, we're getting our projects.
Okay, so your presentation, and then you end with, okay, who's going to do what? Right? What's the next step?
What has to get done?
What has to get done? So what I would suggest to you is don't leave it there. I mean, that's good. You put them in action mode. You're taking some action. Now what I would say is sum it all up. Well, if you do this, this, and this, what's going to happen? What's that leading to? Our ultimate reason why we're having this presentation, the goal, the results. We just assume everybody knows what that is. We just assume people know what we're talking about when we just speak in general, but be specific and really outline and tell them what those goals are, and if you do this, this is what's going to happen, and together we're going to be a really strong, super successful team. Wrap it up, close it up. Okay. The other thing I wanted to say about a dynamic closing was you could, to tie in your opening with your closing. So many times I open with a story about my cross-country bike trip. And I say, when I open, I say, in 1997, I biked across the country, and my butt still hurts. So I get them laughing right away. And when I started this trip, I had a lot of concerns. Like, will I make it? Will I take a wrong turn somewhere and get lost forever? Will my spandex padded biking shorts look too tight? But once the trip got on its way, I started to feel a lot more comfortable. And there were lots of challenges along the way. There were hills, there were headwinds, lots of hills, lots of headwinds, nausea, bad weather. But after each challenge and each obstacle I overcame, I became stronger and I was able to take on bigger and bigger challenges. And this is a lot like public speaking. It can be scary at first, but once we start to do it, we feel a little bit more comfortable. There's a lot of preparation involved because I couldn't just hop in my bike and start biking across the country. I had to learn how to eat right. I had to get the proper gear, all that good stuff. I had to train for it. But when the trip was all over, not only did I have a feel of accomplishment, but I was a much stronger cyclist. And when you learn these steps of public speaking, not only will you have a sense of accomplishment, but you'll be a much stronger public speaker. So those are some things that, I mixed it up a little bit, but what happens is I tell that in the beginning, then I bring it at the end, and at the end I tell, that's my opening. In the end I say something like this. At the end of my in the first week of my bike trip, one person flew home. She couldn't do it. 3,700 miles, 2 months, hills, headwinds, nausea. I can't do this. It's too much. It's overwhelming. I'm going home. She got on the next flight home. We started in San Francisco and ended in New Hampshire, by the way. Yeah, I know. And that same week, the youngest man on the trip fell off his bike and broke his collarbone. He made the whole trip. Wow. And me, I took the advice of the tour director the night before we started our trip. And he said, Imagine we're going out for a bike ride every day. And that saved me one day at a time. So however we perceive ourselves is what we create for ourselves. What we think we can achieve is what we will achieve. So take one day at a time, one speech at a time, one goal at a time, and become a great presenter. And that's how I often wrap up my presentations.